For the rest of the day, we're supposed to handle the department's communication.
What do you mean, handle?
They're shutting down the police van. All calls will be coming through this switchboard.
And I'm gonna marry Donald Trump. And I'm gonna marry Donald Trump.
Gee, right. Do you think you're a lady, Hillary Clinton?
That's it.
What?
Hillary Clinton, the 42nd president.
Oh, she'd be the 43rd president.
All right, but who's the 21st?
I don't know. Do you think you're a lady, Hillary Clinton?
That's it.
What?
Hillary Clinton, the 42nd president.
Oh, she'd be the 43rd president.
All right, but who's the 21st?
I don't know.
The prince was led into a world of strange and beautiful magic.
Sometimes I'm afraid that you'll tell me that this is not a work of fiction. I can only hope that the answers will come to me in my sleep. I hope that when the world comes to an end, I can breathe a sigh of relief, because there will be so much to look forward to.
Wake up.
I find it hard to tell you, I find it hard to take. When people run in circles, it's a very, very mad world. Mad
As doubting Thomases seem to take particular pleasure in popping up on all occasions, Jack in the Box like, it may be well to head them off in this particular instance by proving that Baron Trump was a real baron and not a mere baron of the mind. Ingersoll Lockwood was an American lawyer and writer that was born in the year 1841. Lockwood was born in Ossining, New York, the son of Munson Ingersoll and Sarah Lewis Lockwood. Ingersoll's father, Munson, was also a lawyer and intimate friend of Henry Clay, representative of Kentucky and also a lawyer. Munson achieved prominence as a military man and civic activist. He was a general in the New York State Militia and commandant of the 7th Brigade. Like his father and uncles, Ingersoll Lockwood also trained as a lawyer, although his first position was as a diplomat. In 1862, he was appointed consul to the Kingdom of Hanover by Abraham Lincoln himself. At the time, he was the youngest member of the U.S. consular force and served in that post for 4 years. On his return, he established a legal practice in New York City with his older brother Henry Lockwood. By the 1880s, Ingersoll had established a parallel career as a lecturer and writer. In 1884, he married Winifred Wallace Tinker, a graduate of Vassar College and aspiring author. He allegedly died in Saratoga Springs at the age of 77 years old. The reason why we know him today is from his Baron Trump children's novels that was written in the year 1892. These novels now hold a prophetic and mimetic nature to them, with all their synchronicities, with the name of the young child in the novel, to all the fantastical places he visits in this hollow earth location, where he ultimately ends up time traveling in the center of the earth. All concepts ahead of their time. But we see this even more so in his other books that he's not as well known for. Besides the Baron Trump books, he wrote several nonfiction works, along with a very prophecy-filled book called 1900, or The Last President, which is a dark foreshadow to future events that he would have no possible idea about. Finally, his most rare work, Laconics of Cult, a complete mirror to his earlier works, going deep into the occult and esoteric knowledge that this man displayed. The character in the book, Baron Trump's Marvelous Underground Journey, strikingly resembles the Baron Trump of our timeline. Young Baron in the book is helped by the manuscripts of Don Foom, who he uses to find the portals to the world within a world, which were situated somewhere in northern Russia, possibly on the western slopes of the upper Urals. It's quite interesting that today we know that this location has vast underground natural cave networks that were not discovered in the time of Ingersoll Lockwood, but he predicted this in his book. And if we look further down the rabbit hole of these extensive caves in the Ural Mountains, we see that ancient nanostructures have been discovered, almost pointing to an ancient civilization or more mysterious origin to these mountains. Could these mountains be one of the entrances to Hollow Earth? Little Baron Trump in the novel also lives in Castle Trump. Coincidentally, his family is extremely wealthy, but the father of Baron Trump wants to secure his son's fortune for the future. None of these books explain how Baron Trump passes or what happens to him, besides finding a time-traveling portal in the middle of the earth, which ties into other radical theories that the Trump family is associated with time travel. It's important to take note that Lockwood's book about Little Baron Trump was way ahead of its time. It talked about Hollow Earth, time travel, fantastical places and creatures and people that lived inside the earth. Cities of full silver, everything was silver in some of these areas. And they even talked about the Goggle Zone, which reminded me almost of Google Zone. In the book 1900, or The Last President, it is known as, it predicts that socialists and anarchists will start rioting in New York City from November 3rd and that possibly Trump is the last president. Looking into his next book on our list, 1900 or The Last President. This book predicts that socialists and anarchists will start an uprising in New York City and rioting. The quick rundown of The Last President is commies take over the country. New York falls to social unrest and protests as the rich elite stay in their upper homes. Chicago is taken and people are assassinated by the mob. Last bastion of resistance, the Supreme Court, due to have multiple vacancies from old age. Suddenly an eclipse happens, everyone's afraid. People are believing that the new president has ties to moneylenders and usurers. This is all in a book that was written in the year 1896. There's a part in the book that also states that Chicago celebrated the election of the new president who was to free the land from the grasp of the moneylenders and undo the bad business of years of unholy union between barterers and sellers of human toil and the lawmakers of the land. What was Ingersoll Lockwood talking about in 1896? What did he foresee? How did he forecast these events? Was it divination? Was it channeling? Was it time travel? Was he merely reporting on the events of meeting a real time traveler, possibly named Baron Trump? Another interesting coincidence or synchronicity in this book is one of the cabinet members of this future president, the last president. His Secretary of Agriculture, his name was Leif Pence of Colorado. Very interesting. Could he see the name Pence and he just got the position wrong? Lockwood also started a society for men that were 6 foot 2 inches tall. Coincidentally, Trump is 6 foot 2 inches tall. So is Tesla and Patton are all exactly that height. This was called the Union of the Titans, or the Order of the Titans, and a few links between this society and the Freemasons exist. The majority theory of the people that went down this rabbit hole is that Ingersoll Lockwood either came into contact with time-traveling Baron Trump or was a major facilitator for said person. Just like the young Baron in the book had the manuscripts of Don Foom, the rumor is President Trump has the manuscripts of Tesla from his uncle John Trump, and he has used these articles and technology to run the timelines, to win the presidency, and to continue benefiting this reality. But a darker, more Halloween theory we're about to look into revolves around his final and most rare book on my list. His book, Laconics of Cult, shows what Ingersoll Lockwood was truly involved with. Deep Hermeticism, possibly connected to the origins of the Jesuits and other secret mystery schools. The opening cover of the book shows Ingersoll at the age of 30 and also at the age of 60, where it says under his name, author and originator of the cult of the immortal human. And funny enough, his picture doesn't look like he aged a day. This is back before the age of cosmetic surgery. The only difference is the color of his beard hair. Did Ingersoll find the secret to life? The book talks about the creation of a god, how to make your own god, and he goes into myths about Muhammad, Osiris, Apis, Horus. He talks about Enoch and Elijah, and how they never saw death, and how they were snatched up from this earth as mortals. He writes poems in this book of the immortal human. To the grand and noble soul of my brother Henry Clay Lockwood. He was famously known to be friends with Sir Henry Clay. The tone of this book is almost educational with a flair of mysticism. Compared to his fiction books and his prophetical, almost political book, this is a far stretch comparatively. Did Mr. Lockwood form a cult back then? We could see now looking back that he had an extensive insight into future events, into the political landscape 100 years down the line, and into fantastical ideas like Hollow Earth and other topics like time travel. 100 years later, with the election of Donald Trump, the books of Ingersoll Lockwood are now coming back to bring us an eerie take from the past, almost like Nostradamus has done. Was Mr. Lockwood even a real figure in history, or was he completely made up? If we look at the etymology of his name, Ingersoll Lockwood, Inger is derived from the Old Norse Ingvar, itself derived from Yngvi Freyr, the Norse god of sacral kingship, virility, prosperity, and sunshine fair weather, i.e., climate-controlled, be God, not man. Sol is the personification of the sun, and Woodlock, derived from a location in Yorkshire, England named Lockwood in Old English. The meaning is translated one resident at the wood, home enclosed by fencing. So based on the etymology, it can be surmised that the author's name means the one resident of the house secured by fencing that is protected by the god of light, understanding that climate is subject to God and not man, and wishing to bring a sense of masculinity and prosperity to his people. His leadership is ordained by God. There are rumors that Mr. Lockwood was a Catholic back then, but it would be interesting to see if his prophecies were given to him by God or by more occultic and esoteric means. And how does this connect to the theories of John Titor and John Trump, President Trump's MIT uncle who had the Tesla document?